Hi guys, welcome to Conversations with Carol. Welcome to another afternoon and that episode with Conversations with Carol. My name is Carol Barlow. It's wonderful. We just had some more technical issues, unfortunately. So sorry about that. And I'm hoping that I'm seeing people already starting to come back on. Well done. Thank you so much. So today we are going to be talking about the challenges of parenting, and I am very honored to have some special people all the way from the UK to join us. Leon and Patricia Brown, who are good friends, longtime friends, and I'm really excited to be having them here with me, both on Instagram Live and on Facebook Live. So it's great. Oh, fantastic. We're being told that the echo has gone. That's amazing. Well done. Thank you so much. So we're going to go over on Instagram first. If I can get my computer to respond. We're going to introduce Leon and Patricia on Instagram, and I'm also going to invite them. Hey guys, good to see you. So I'm seeing you on Facebook. I'm not yet seeing you on Instagram. Yay! We're here. We're here. Great. And we're being told it's perfect now. It's so good to see you. You're looking fantastic, fabulous, wonderful.
Thank you, Carol.
We're
looking great yourself.
Not as hot as you, but we're trying.
Well, we're trying. We do try.
Yeah.
You know the old back in the day is no longer the old. We have to keep up with the young people these days in order to stay relevant.
Indeed, I agree.
Which is great. It's great. So, Leon, Trish, I know you've done this before, but perhaps you can introduce yourselves to the new audience that is joining us.
Hello, everyone. We're sorry that we had the technical issues previously. It's great to be on this call. Come a little closer, babe, so everybody can see you. It's great to be on this call together. My name is Leon Brown. I am a, let's say, business person and entrepreneur here in London. This is my lovely wife, Trish. We've been married for, let's say...
Hi, Trish.
Hey, nice to see you.
We've been married for a number of years, let's just say. Trish knows the exact number. I try not to remember. And I'll let Trish tell you about...
Leon just does not want to give away his age.
So he's forgotten the amount of years.
Yeah, best to forget.
So it's 22 years we've been married. We met as teenagers and we've been doing life together, basically. We have 3 wonderful children. Jude Elliott, who is 18, Ellis Brown, who is 9, and my gorgeous daughter, Sienna, who is 7.
Did you say Ellis Brown, like you
Ellis Brown, Sienna Brown.
Surname as us.
Okay, yes, we all have the same surname, Brown. And yeah, we're a family of 5 and just doing life together.
So how have you been coping with the lockdown? I know we started to talk about that before we were kicked out, but for those that are just coming on board, how are you coping? Trish, how are you dealing with, for example, homeschooling?
Yeah, homeschooling has been hard, a bit challenging, having to bring it every day, inverted commas. And then when you're dealing with your own children, it's always that much harder to get some good work from them and to be disciplined, then to switch off from school and just be mum. It's a bit of a juggle, right? So just trying to just go with the flow and not put too much emphasis on we must sit at the table, we must do English, math, science, but to be a bit more flexible in the garden, going for nature walks, doing science experiments, just trying to really mix it up a bit so to keep their attention. And yeah, I'm doing most of the homeschooling. I'll leave that there.
Leon?
But yeah.
I'm looking straight ahead.
Leon?
Yeah.
Would you like to interject?
I was actually saying before we got kicked off, I was going to say that even those sorts of things are happening here as well. You know, a lot of that. I did a talk on the Mummy Summit a few weeks ago, and that was the complaint of most of the women, is that the men are just not getting involved in homeschooling. It seemed to be the woman's job, the wife's job. But you know, what I will say is this, Leon. Here's my challenge to you, right? Children are what they see. Children are.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Would you like to speak into the mic?
Are we gonna? Am I gonna be ganged up on? First of all, am I gonna be ganged up on? No one's asked me about how my life's going in lockdown. Is this gonna be 2-on-1 here?
We're just dealing with the homeschooling. If you just answer on the homeschooling, that would be good.
Homeschooling is going fine. It's going really, really well. I've got a great deputy headmistress.
Deputy? Oh, wow. Did you really just say that? The deputy's doing every single thing. Right.
I've got a great deputy headmistress. She's very, very good.
Leon,
that's why I've given her the responsibility.
Fair enough.
I challenge you to do at least one session this week. At least one session.
In fact,
we did do that,
to be fair, I've done a few sessions, and it is really wonderful. Now, all jokes aside, it is really wonderful to. Oh no, Carol, have you frozen again? Please don't say that.
Are you there, Carol?
Are you there?
Uh-oh, we've lost Carol. Wow. She might come back in. Carol, are you with us?
I don't know if this is.
Is it going out?
If it's going out, it's going out on my Instagram.
Slight technical hitch. Ask if people can hear.
I don't know. If anybody can still hear me, then please make a comment. Please make a comment if you can still hear me. Carol is actually in Nigeria, and I think she's having problems with her network. So let me know if you can still hear me or if this is a dead.
Give us a thumbs up.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. Oh, she's gone now. Maybe we should come out and let her invite us in again. Everyone can. Should we leave and allow her to? Oh, it's failed. What about on the computer screen?
Hi guys, we seem to be having real problems with the internet today. I'm so sorry about those people. Please bear with us. We're just going back live. I think we're live on Instagram. We're still trying to get up the
Hey, Rachel's back.
Facebook page. Oh, thank goodness people are coming on board. Thank goodness. You're not giving up on us. These are the challenges that we face in Nigeria.
I'm back.
Oh, you're back. You're back on the
Let me just get you back up on
Good.
Instagram.
Can you see me, Carol?
I'm back.
Good to me. Hi, how are you? Leon, thank you so much for bearing with us. Okay, you're back. We're back on Instagram. We're back on Facebook. Please, this network issue is a serious problem here. I do apologize, but I've just done a reboot, so hopefully we'll be there. So where were we? Leon, you were promising what sessions you were going to do in homeschooling this week.
No, you know what, Carol? You know what I was actually saying, Carol, is that I've done a couple sessions with the kids this week, whether it's their music lesson or their art lesson, or maybe something to do with their PE. I've done not obviously Trishy's taking the bulk of the load on the homeschooling, which is great. But it really is a great privilege for parents to be able to influence what their children are learning. And that, for me, is quite exciting to be able to have some level of influence over what my children are learning. And believe it or not, some of the stuff that I'm doing with the kids is outside of the regular curriculum day. So my head has switched into kind of teacher mode. And because my work is flexible, I kind of teach at a time when maybe it's right before bed, or maybe it's in lunchtime, or maybe it's out. But it's a different type of teaching to just fatherhood teaching. It's like, okay, it's parent teaching, but using examples of being out in the park, or being, reading a book at bedtime. So yeah, we're flexible, but I'm there. I'm involved. I'm doing my bit. I am doing my bit, Tess. I am doing my bit.
Debatable.
Tell him that I'm doing my bit.
Yeah, he's doing. He's just pinched me. So I've got to say he's doing his bit. Sorry.
I think one of the things I will say at this time as an educator is that it's been such a long process and it's so hard, not only for the parents, but it's also hard for the kids as well, because they're used to having mummy and daddy, and they're used to doing lots of fun stuff and lots of, you know, engaging stuff. And the only time that you really sit down with them normally, formally, is when they're doing their homework. And suddenly you're at it all day long, and it can be a real challenge. So you know, it is one of those things, and therefore, you know, Leon, I'm sure you. What I will say, Trish, is give yourself a break. You know, if it gets too much,
I do.
Sometimes you just have to crash it for the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes
and there's other ways of learning, creative learning, and other forms of learning, right? So, yeah.
Absolutely. So last week we did a broadcast with your James, my son, and my children.
My son.
Oh, really? And we talked about the power of family in challenging times and so on and so forth. Now, during the broadcast last week, one of the things that the children mentioned was the impact of the role models in their life. And Leon, I know you were one of the role models in James's life, which I'm very proud to say, over 20 years ago. What do you remember of those times, and what role did you see yourself playing in James's life at that time?
I mean, look, it's a really good question, and it's one which I try to answer with fond memories. You can see I'm physically trying to retain and hold the smile of the memories that I have with James as a young child, and you know, other guys as well. I remember guys like Joshua Silvera. I remember guys like Jamal Ashley. These guys who, you know, who were young at the time, and just being in the church, Carol, being in the church, we rallied around these guys. Not just myself. You know, there's a tight group of friends who I still speak to now. Harold, Terrence, Norman, Delroy, Simon. These guys that I know that you know. We rallied around, you know, these young guys. Some of them had fathers in the home, some of them didn't. Doesn't matter. But we rallied around them and just literally did our bit as a community. That's really what it was. It was just, okay, let's be a village. Let's be, you know, an uncle or a father figure where these guys may or may not have one directly to speak to. And you know, I saw myself in that role with a number of different kids that were at our church. And I just smile when I think about James. I think of music that we used to play when we were at the house at Bradgate Road. I think of the Whining songs. I know James will probably be smiling.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
If I ever said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to James, I guarantee that he would smile at that, because it was just childish times that we remember 20 years later. So I'm very, very, very proud and very, very happy that, you know, 29, 30 years old, James will call me uncle, you know, and at 30 years old, I call my uncles uncle, and anybody that's not my blood uncle, I only call that people uncle if I respect them, if they hold a place in my heart. And so for James to still at 30 years old almost be calling me uncle, it's just, it's bare love, it's real love, yeah.
And you know, it's funny, there was a story I'll just share with you briefly. I remember when I was living in Bexley Heath, and we were on our way home from church, I think. And I remember exactly where I was. We were driving up to the traffic lights, and James said something like, you know, he used the CRAP word, right? And I turned on him and I said, "How dare you use that word? Why would you use that bad language?" And he said, "Mum, I'm so sorry. Is it a swear word?" And then I suddenly thought, well, not really. It's just not a very nice word to use, especially in front of your mum. And then a few minutes, he said, "Mum, I'm sorry, I didn't know it was a swear word." And so I said, so a little while later, he now said to me, "Mum, why is swearing wrong?" And he said, it's just words at the end of the day. So why is it wrong? And I was stumped. I was actually stumped for an answer. So I said to James, this is how I answered him. I said, I want you to think of 3 people in your life who you love and respect. 3 men in your life that you love and respect. I said, have you thought of them? He said, yes. I said, who are they? Uncle Leon, Uncle Harold, Uncle Terence.
Oh, wow.
I said, okay. So my question is, have you ever heard them use that word? And he said, no. And I said, okay, now think about where you have heard that word. And my question to you is, who do you want to be when you grow up? Who do you want to model yourself on? And so, very often we use those, as parents, I think one of the things that we have to learn is not necessarily to always tell them, don't do this, don't do that, don't do the other, but actually use the role models around the family to say, who do you want to be when you grow up? Because very often these young people, these young men, young children are looking at you as role models and are looking for you to set the tone. And so I think sometimes, when we say to children, don't do this, don't do that, the automatic reaction is to go and do it because children are naturally rebellious. But being able to get into his head and actually turn the narrative around and say, you've got a choice. Who do you want to be when you grow up? And he knew he wanted to be like his Uncle Leo. So that was so lovely.
We won't go into whether he uses this word now.
No, we won't go into that one.
Who, me or James? Me or James?
Anyway, next question, Carol.
James still wants to use that word now.
Trish, coming over to you. So Jude is 18, and then your next one is 9. Was that choice or design?
Oh, you know what, Carol? That was definitely not a choice of mine. I wanted 2 children, and I wanted them to be 2 years apart. I had my plan. I knew what I wanted. I wanted 1 boy, 1 girl. You want them to go to the same school and all these ideas and everything. And when the time came to us trying for our second child, it just didn't happen. It just honestly didn't happen. A year went, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and this is part of my journey that, wow, what's happened? Am I just going to have 1 child? Okay. Should I just be happy? Am I going to seek medical help? Am I going to pray about it? What's happening here? And you know what? I will say it was God's plan for us to have Ellis 8 years later. It was really God's plan. It wasn't my plan. I was quite upset in the beginning, quite upset, quite angry with God, all those emotions that come with it, and then I just had to just ease up and say, God, whatever your will is for my life, for our life, we will just be okay with that. And, we stopped trying, we stopped seeking help from here and there, and miraculously, out of the blue, Ellis appeared.
Right after I bought my nice car.
Yeah,
I'm having 1 child. It was so funny. It was so funny, Carol. We went for all of these years trying for a child. And then I remember it clearly. December 2009, I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to buy the car that I wanted. I went out. I got my 6 Series convertible. I'm like, okay, that's it. That's it. I'm done. We're having 1 child. All I need is 2 seats in the back. We can put the car seat for the child in the back or whatever. 3 of us can go in that sports car. And that was the December. And when did you? And then the February, Trish said, "We're having another baby."
It was like a miracle, Carol. Honestly, it changed our world. But we learned so much through that period because you're just learning to depend on God and just acknowledging that God is in control. It doesn't matter what you do, how much money you have to get this medical advice, this private healthcare, whatever it is. If God says now's not the time, now is not the time. And you just have to be obedient and thankful and grateful throughout that period.
So how did you cope? Because I know for a fact that there are people listening in that are even waiting for their first child, not less a second child or third child. How did that situation put a strain on your marriage at any point? or did it bring you together, or what was the impact?
It did both actually. In the beginning, it was really quite hard. I mean, we sought some medical intervention, and that in itself brings a strain. If you're working as well, you've got to go to your appointments, you've got to have certain injections, and yeah, it places, as a woman, you're longing for this baby. Nothing else fills the gap. You want this baby, you want a baby, you've had one before, you want another one, you feel a bit selfish, and you kind of go inwards a bit. So yeah, there was definitely a strain, would you say?
Yeah, it was hard. The hardest bit for us, I think, the hardest bit was when we went through the medical intervention. It was painful because, and for me, honestly as well, for me as a husband, to see your wife long for something, even something that she's already had, right? To long for it. And it wasn't that I didn't want another child, but it was to see the desire from a woman to conceive and to feel the growth of life inside her, and then for that to take so long, it was very challenging. And then when we went through the medical intervention, again, this was weight that was all chemicals and treatments on Trisha's body. I'm here as a bystander, really, just waiting to do the man's bit, and it was hard to see Trisha's body deteriorate. It went bad. I mean, some of our friends will know. I remember when our friends Kevin and Sarah, they were living abroad at the time. They came over. We went for a restaurant, and that time Trish was ill. We had to go out to see them, and we sat down, and Trish was ill. Lost all of her weight. It was horrendous. It was horrible. It was really horrible. That was the hardest bit. And to watch your friends, who are still our friends to this day, to watch your friends know that their friend is just a fraction, half of herself. It was hard.
But on the other, so that was the sort of hard stage, and then we just made a decision together. Said, you know what, we're just going to stop this. We're going to stop this cycle. We're just going to stop all this medical intervention, and we're just going to wait on God. And if God says it's just going to be one child, we're just going to accept it.
And be thankful.
We're going to be thankful, because I did feel bad when you go to the clinics and the appointments, and there's women there that haven't got one. And it was just a slap around my face to say, hello, you've experienced pregnancy, you've experienced childbirth, you've gone through all, and some women haven't even. So I really just picked my socks up, but I did make a decision, didn't I? And I said, I'm not having this again. Enough. And they were like, Mrs. Brown, you sure, finish the cycle, there's counselling. I said, no, when you've made the decision in your heart and it's the right thing. We were just completing that, and together we said, right, this is it. If it's just one child, let's just enjoy him, give him the best, give him our time, serve God, be grateful, be thankful. And we just switched off, Carol. As easy as that. We just said, it's done. We're going to live our life. We're going to go on nice holidays.
And that's what I said. We just started living.
We just switched off.
That was it.
We really did, and it did.
And when I say started living, I mean, I don't know if this is an encouragement to any mother out there or any father out there who really might be longing for a child, whether you had one or whether you haven't. But I don't know why the change came when we really genuinely said, okay, we just stopped caring. Maybe it was easier for us because we already had one. So I don't know. Maybe it was easier. But at the point where we said, okay, done. I'm going out to live, and this was a click. I'm going to buy my car now. I went in 3 weeks. Boom, 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 done, gone. I'm going out to live this, move this, go on holiday, book holidays, go skiing. I'm done. And then immediately, when we really, truly, genuinely gave up, we had tried to think we'd given up before and given up hope before and moved on. But when we really, really, really genuinely gave up hope, and that's when our second child comes. So we look at Ellis as a special blessing, not that the others aren't, of course, in case they watch this later.
He was your miracle child.
He really was. Yeah.
So, question: what would Jude Elliott say now about your parenting of him versus your parenting of the youngest two?
I don't know.
I'll leave Leon to Leon's.
Do you think
Should I get Jude? No.
Trish knows why I'm laughing at this, right? Because right now it's really funny because we have this running joke. we've got this running joke in the house that's happening right now, Carol. It's quite a funny question. It's a very, very funny question. And the joke in the house right now is that I love Ellis more than I love Jude. Okay.
That's Jude's argument, right?
That's Jude's argument. Jude is like, everything he says, shock Ellis is sitting with Daddy, shock Ellis loves, shock Daddy's taking Ellis, it's like, because, and I'll tell you the reason why. Psychologically, I'll tell you the reason why. And this is quite serious. Even when I had my first son, I spent a lot of time researching what it would be like to be a father, right? I had all the books, Raising Boys, I've even got some of them up here.
Expectant Father, everything. You just
on my bookshelf is right here. I've got books literally right here about raising boys, fatherhood. I really spent some time looking into it, and not funny enough, as a side point, it's part of the reason why I looked at James differently, why I looked at Joshua differently, why I looked at Jamal and some of these guys differently, because I knew about fatherhood even before I was a father.
Before you were a
myself,
father, yeah.
right? Before I was a father myself, I was preparing for it. So one of the things it says in these books about fatherhood is that there's a stage in a child's life, in a man-child's life, where all they want is to be tied and attached to manhood. They want to cling to a man, and this stage happens between 5 years old and 8-9 years old. They just somewhere around that time they just get clingy to man. They just want to be around. And Ellis won't leave me right now. I'm telling you, if I walk from here to the next room, it's like I've got a shadow. If I go from the next room upstairs, it's just that he wants. And so for me,
and did it happen with
I understand
Jude?
it. Say again?
Did that same thing happen with Jude Elliott?
Exactly the same. Jude doesn't remember it. The same thing happened with Jude. So now I can see.
But I remember coming to visit you in when you'd moved from Lewisham. I remember coming to visit you in the big house, and I remember you and your son sitting down watching Manchester United. Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
I remember you going and sitting, and he was your life. He really was your life. He was attached to you.
Until the age of 14 or 15. We would watch football together, and Jude would sit on my lap, or he'd sit on the side of me and lean back.
Yeah.
So he literally, until he was too big. Now he's taller than me, but until he was too big, he was in constant contact with me, in constant. Right. So now I think the fact that Ellis is now doing it, Jude starts to feel a little bit of a way, but he'll understand. He understands.
They'll get there. So, do you think the rules have changed? Do you think the rules changed between having Jude Elliott and having the other two?
Which rules do you mean?
The house rules. Do you think your parenting changed?
I tell you what changed. I tell you what really changed. For us having one child, was that I always apologize to Jude. Always, even now, I'm like, son, I'm sorry. I just did what I thought was right. And no one taught me this. I tried to study, I tried to prepare, but I just did what I thought was right. You were the trial run. You were the guinea pig.
Yeah, you were the guinea pig
all the time. You were the guinea pig.
Made mistakes.
But with the other two now, I really don't care. In a good way. I really don't care. They're gonna be okay. They're gonna be fine. They're gonna run. They're gonna fall over. They're gonna hurt themselves. They're gonna make friends. They're gonna lose friends. As long as there's certain principles which we have to hold to, but other than the principles, I think everything's gonna be okay.
Okay. So one of the things that happened for me between last week and this week is I was thinking about this whole parenting thing, because I was looking at my son and Ruth's children and looking at how awesome they were. And yet Ruth and I parented in completely different ways. Completely. I was a career mum. I didn't, I think I went to one, maybe two of James's football games because I was always working. Ruth made a choice to work nights so that she could be there for her children. So they went to every after club. They did all the the extracurricular. They did everything. Is it okay, Leon?
It's cool. I'm just kind of trying to respond to some of the comments.
There's a lot of
all right. Okay. So Ruth did everything with the children. She did all the extracurricular and everything. And yet when I look at them, they've all turned out beautifully. I mean, they're all absolutely amazing. And so it took me back a step further where I began to look at my mum and I began to look at her parenting of us and how even though we've got, our parenting style,
Yeah.
so Ruth's children were brought up in a two-parent home, mum and dad and the kids. James was brought up by me, with support of a lot of other people and so on. And I know that you, like Leon, you've come from mum, dad, two siblings. Trish, you're like James, brought up by a single mum on your own as alone. Now, as you're coming from two backgrounds, two different parenting sort of frameworks. When you now came together and became parents, how did your parenting influence you, and did it at all at any point cause any conflict?
Good question.
Go on,
it's quite deep.
It is.
Yeah.
Can I before I let Trish say something, I'm going to let Trish answer this one. I think I mean, it's okay to talk about a little bit of the background, right? So Trisha's dad wasn't in the house, and I think Trisha's dad left when she was very young, right? When she was very young, secondary school. I think part of the mistake that I made in marrying Trish was
mistake in marrying.
Yeah, there was
you
no
better
mistake.
finish that sentence quick.
You better finish that sentence, Leon.
Quickly.
Okay, all right. Let me rewind.
We're starting again.
Part of the mistake I made in my own thinking when I married Trish.
Thank you.
Right? Is that better? Go happy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that I had attempted to replace the loss of the father. I'm like, okay, I'll fix it. I'll come. I'll fix this problem. Yeah. Maybe I think there was a gap between expectation and reality in my mind, and maybe even Trish maybe didn't know I thought that, but I went into our relationship very conscious that Trish's dad wasn't around, and that maybe there would be some things which I as a man needed to compensate for. And I don't know if that was right or if that was wrong. Doesn't quite answer the question, but it shaped the way that I at least went into the marriage.
I think there were some difficulties, obviously. I was brought up by my mum, and she was very strong, and she was working as well, Carol. So back in the day, to work full time and bring up 3 daughters by yourself, it was hard. Yeah, so we went to everything, play centre, neighbour, the whole community was bringing us up. And so when I got married, even before Jude came, I only know sort of half of the story, really, the mum side, the woman's role, because I didn't see the husband and wife, how they treated each other. Yes, there were other good role models for me, but I'm coming into the marriage and I'm just trying to fulfill the woman's side. I don't really know about men. I've not lived with them. I don't know if they're hygienic. I don't know about them leaving the toilet seat up or socks on the floor. We won't go into that. Leon, come back. Right? There's just all these little difficulties and stuff. It's nothing bad, but you're just not used to it, right? So then when you come to parent, Jude comes along, I'm like, well, I'm doing it this way. This is what my mum did with me. She was quite stern, she was quite strict, and and Leon's seeing it from a different point of view because his dad was the disciplinarian. The mum's the softer kind of one, or I'll hug you, they fell over, or the one working part-time, or that wasn't my story. So I was probably looking at it from maybe a bit of a harsher way, maybe a stronger way. And did I really need the dad to come and be a disciplinarian? I'll do it myself. I'll be mum, dad, everything in between. So when Leon came to try and discipline or try and, it was difficult. Yeah, it was difficult. And slowly, I had to sort of step back and say, I don't need to do it all. Dad's here. Still stepping back, yeah. I'm still trying to step back, Carol. You know me.
Yeah, I do know you.
It's been a bit of a struggle, if I'm honest. But yeah, we're getting there. You learn, you make mistakes, you come together, you learn, you make mistakes, you change your tactic, you change your strategy. And I think Jude's turned out well, so we must have been doing something right.
So, was there ever a time, and well, I'm kind of guessing that maybe now more so than when Jude was little, but was there ever a time, or has there ever been a time when your children have tried to play you off against one another?
You know who's the best at that?
Ellis Brown.
No, Ellis is not the best at that. Sienna is the best at that. She is a little madam, like a proper. She just gets it. When you know, I used to know these people in business and in industry who just got fantastic minds. They can dissect problems and just understand one person's interest versus another person's interest versus their own interest, right? Sienna is that girl. She just gets it. If I go
she knows just how to come
daddy,
with a story.
Daddy a little bit, mommy a little bit.
And play them off. Good, she gets what she wants.
She's good. She's going all the way.
It kind of sounds like the Trish that I knew, actually.
Well, they do say she's like me, but I don't know.
Didn't want to say it, Carol. I didn't want to say it.
It's true. It's true. It's true. In fact, I won't go into too much detail, but I remember he'd come. I remember Leon coming up to see you when you were still at uni, and came back. He was so frustrated with you, and it was just he just came back and he was like, I just don't understand how. He was.
Yeah, he's still getting me.
It was Trisha's way or no way. So
that's not a good thing. I'm changing as well. If Leon's honest, he would say that I've changed so much. I've calmed down so much. I'm just maturing nicely. You don't just change instantly like that. And actually, you don't want to lose your core character. But you have to kind of balance it out with family life, husband being the head of the home, which is what we believe in, the Christian principle that the man is the priest of the home. And, it's not that you're not leading the family as such as well. But, you have to respect the man and give them their dues and fit into your role. And then be strong in that role, not feel that I'm just a woman, I just do the domestics. And my husband does, all the bigger stuff or makes the money. It's all a balancing act now. 21st century, everyone's working.
The nicest thing for me, Carol, in relationships is constant development. Really, it's so important for individuals, for the man, for the woman, and for the couple. It's like constant personal development. And the danger, I think, comes. I'm not a relationship expert. I don't know whether I want to talk about relationships or parenting. Be careful not to to cross the line. But I think the danger comes when there's no development. Let's just put it that way. When there's no development of the individual, I tell you, it's for me personally, it's stagnation is one of the most frustrating. So as long as there's personal development, individually and together, I can work with problems. I'm not afraid of handling difficulties or working with problems, or but stagnation probably for me is worse than anything else.
So let me go back, because James made an interesting. I'm kind of going to relate it to marriage, to you transitioning into marriage and transitioning into parenthood as well. James shared last week how difficult it was for him to, he was sort of living with me all his life. Then he went off to university where he was Mr. Independent and came home, and it was still me and him. And he was fine with that. He was okay with that. And then I left and came to Jamaica, left him on his own, and now he moved in with my sister and the four kids, and her husband at the time. And he suddenly went from being a family of 2 to being a family of 7. Not even 2 or 3. It was 7. And he talked about his struggle in making that transition. Now, yours was perhaps not as drastic, but you went from being 2 single people into a marriage relationship, and you were both very different. You still are very different, but you probably mellowed a little bit and come closer together. So talk about the challenges that you had transitioning from singlehood into marriage, and then from marriage into having your first child, and then that big gap and then that transition into being a big family, a family of 5.
Yeah.
What were some of the challenges that you had, and how did you overcome them?
For
Single
me,
into marriage.
one of my biggest challenges, as we just spoke about, I was brought up by a single parent, my mum. So coming into a marriage, I'm not sure. I mean, I know what the male role is meant to be, but I've got no practical experience of that. Because my years growing up, teenage years, my dad was not in the house. So I don't really know about men living with a man. You know, whether it's your dad, uncle, or it was just girls and my mum. So that was one of my biggest challenges, because I just didn't get men. I was like, this is crazy. This can't work. In the first 6 months, I was like, after the honeymoon, Carol, I was like, no, what is happening here? 6 months in, because it's just blown my mind. It's brand new to me. So you're trying to be the nice wife and get dinner ready and look perfect all the time and send your husband off with a kiss and pack lunch, and you're trying to do all of that within the first year. Plus getting to know that, oh, he's doing this. Oh, that's a bit odd. Oh, that's strange. Oh, the socks are on the floor. And it should be in the linen basket, but they're on the floor. Yep, those are the things that I was just getting used to. It seems really small, but when you're just not used to it, it's those small things niggle away at you. So I just had to learn that, oh, men are just like this. They do, okay, cool, Trish. He's not going to be like you. You can't turn him into a woman. You know, this is you and this is him. You just got to find a way. But for me, that took quite a few years. If I'm honest, it took quite a few years to just be like, wow, okay.
So, how did you cope with that, Leon? What was your experience?
Oh.
Sorry, 1 second.
Okay.
Hello?
Sorry, I missed that question there, Carol. Say it again.
So what was in Trisha's reality? What was your experience? What were you experiencing at that time?
You know what? Okay. So my experience was very, very different, because I came from what was called the nuclear family. Like my mum, my dad, 3 brothers. My mum and dad are, even to this day, like the most in-love people you can be around. It's crazy. Of course they have disagreements, but no arguments. They are the archetypal traditional family, right? You know, and I don't mean that I just mean, you know, dad is the head of the house. Mum has got absolutely her role. Dad has got his role. What dad says goes. Mum influences that. She's and dad yields at his time when he needs to yield. It's all. I don't know. I mean, I'm just
perfect family.
I feel so blessed. I can't say it in any other way. When I look at my parents, I honestly say this. When I look at my parents, I see like the perfect model of what I would want for my own relationship. It's so balanced. Equity, equality, everything fits in its place. It's just a great relationship to watch. All right, it really is a great relationship to watch. So when I got married now,
come on now, come on, be nice. People are watching.
Yeah, and I didn't see, and I didn't.
Come on now,
I didn't quite experience the same flow, right? The flow, the flow wasn't the same. I was a little shook. I was a little shook too. Now, and the challenge came. Here's the thing. Now, this is where pride comes in. This is where the challenge comes in and says, well, you got to listen to me, because I've had the perfect model. You got to do it my way, because everything I've seen is perfect. So why don't you just do it this way, right? And that could be a little bit selfish. It could be a little bit arrogant. It could be, there's enough dangers with that mindset to say you got to do it my way because I've had the perfect model and supposedly I know everything I know how this is supposed to work. So it definitely required some level of adjustment, to just to get that balance right.
You know, it's funny because I mean I don't know if you ever had this conversation with your parents, Leon, but you know it's a bit like when you see a pastor or a bishop or whatever at the top of their game. You know, they've got their mega church. They've, you know, everybody thinks they're the best thing since sliced bread. Nobody saw when they were preaching to two people or preaching to five people or preaching to 10 people. Nobody has actually walked in their shoes. So I wonder if you ever sat down with your parents and sort of say, you know, was it always this way? You know, because maybe they also had to grow and evolve from their starting point.
Carol, I can't even start telling you the stories that I've had with my parents when I wasn't old enough to see. The times when there was no food in the cupboard, when there was no 50 pence piece for the gas meter. You know, anybody that knows about gas meters back in the day, anybody that knows about the paraffin lamps when they didn't have heat, you know. So when I know that they went through challenges, I know that they went through challenges. I know that we went through challenges as a family. Nobody saw the times when Dad was going through his own health challenges. We were all up in Northampton to have a private family meeting about stuff that was going on with Dad's health, and at the time, at the time he received a call from somebody that was in the church, and Dad put himself and his own health and his own family and said, "You all have to wait while I deal with this." And I was fuming. I was mad. I was incensed. Like, when is it gonna stop? When are you gonna put yourself first? When are you gonna understand that, you know, the church is gonna go on without you. You know, the church is gonna go on without you. But I tell you, when I look at my dad, Carol, I just feel completely blessed and honored to have been raised by this guy. I'm telling you, I feel blessed and honored to have been raised by this guy. If I can get to a little bit of who he is, I'll be a great man. If I can get to a little bit of who he is. But yes, it wasn't always easy. For sure.
That's awesome. Now, building on that, and we are coming down now, so I won't stress you too much. Raising children in the UK at this point in time, it's a difficult place to raise children, and it's particularly challenging. It's particularly challenging when you're trying to raise black boys, especially when we look at what's in the media and so on and so forth. So what safeguards do you put in place, and what advice have you given to your children to ensure their safety and to maximize their safety?
Go on, babe.
Well, you know, our children, they always know that home is the safe place, and there's love and there's care, and there's nothing that they can do that you can never not come home. You know, it's a safe place for them. We've instilled Christian principles in them, and they know about the power of prayer. They've been involved in church all of their life. Now Jude, who's 18, he's finding his own way. I mean, the hard work is done, but you know, when they get to that age, they got to find their way, and he's on his own spiritual journey. But they know that home is a safe place. They know that they can come to us at any time. We tell them about their rights, and you know how to just project themselves outside of the home, and just let them know that knowledge is power. Your education is powerful. So if you're going to be stopped and searched, you know your rights. You know how to speak to the police. You don't speak, you know, with whatever this youth slang and street talk. You know, you're representing yourself. You're representing your family. You got the Brown name. The Brown family is huge. Then you're a Christian, or you come from a Christian upbringing. You know, you've got all of that. Plus you're black. You're representing out there. So any decision you make, that's not to say you're not going to slip up, you're not going to mess up. You will do those things. But there's just a way to carry yourself, and it goes a long way. So that's what we've been really telling Jude, the other two, they're quite young. But Ellis, even right now, he's so caught up in this whole movement. Why did George Floyd die? What is it about? What, just because of their skin, he's doing his own project on Nelson Mandela. I'm just slowly starting to build the historical events that happened, and let them know that they are somebody. Yeah.
Carol, you know the thing is, for me, I try to instill one thing in my well, a number of things, but the main thing I talk to my children about is truth and honesty. I'm like, I don't care what the truth is. I just don't care what the truth is. The only thing that matters is that you tell me the truth. Because from when you and me and my son, that's why me and my son got us to work, right? You know, he knows that all that matters is that the truth is just told, and I'm going to be angry for a while, I might be upset or whatever. When he was younger, there might be a punishment, but the truth is, the severity of the problem is always less if the truth is told. And me and Jude have, you know, I've raised him on that principle. With the other two now, it's the same thing. I don't mind. Just tell me the truth, and let's deal with the truth. And it's the same. Let's just tell me the truth, and we deal with it, and we'll deal with the truth.
So with this whole Black Lives Matter agenda, what sorts of conversations have been going on in your home?
Which agenda are you referring to? The slogan or the organisation?
Just the agenda, the agenda, whatever you want to call it. What's been going on in the news? You know, the protest marches, the actual the reality of racism. Full stop.
I mean, I'm
the
trying
reality of
to.
racism.
Couple things. I'm just building up my own historical knowledge about, you know, where this stems from, the root of it. You know, look, I reach within 1 second, I pick up the book I'm reading right now. This is Marcus Garvey, one of the great Jamaican prophets, and I'm just digging into what he has to say about this. He saw this coming at the time 100 years ago, and he's spoken a lot about it. But I'm just telling my kids to be very, very careful. Really careful. Jude wanted to go to a march the other day, and, you know, I kind of discouraged him in some ways, just because we're coming out of a very serious season of lockdown, and I'm just cautious about the agenda of people being like the race of people that got the highest propensity to be infected and suffer from this disease apparently is the African community, which I include myself, even though I'm African Caribbean, right? Is the black community. So I'm just cautious about how much we gather together right now, and I'm just cautious about just making sure we do things in the right way. We've got to support, we've got to protest, we have to champion our cause in the right way. We need to open the channels of communication, we need to study, we need to understand what this is all about. It's much deeper than just simply repeating a slogan, and a slogan that I don't even care too much for, but that's a whole nother story. You know, yeah, it's
another conversation.
It's a deep. You know, racism goes deep. This is not black versus white. It's very deep. I don't even want to start talking about that whole conversation, but
we are just having conversations in the house. The kids are having lots of questions, and it's kind of heartbreaking, really, to have to explain. And when you say it out loud to a 7-year-old, and then they start to cry.
The most heartbreaking thing.
It's the most heartbreaking thing. They just don't understand.
It's the most heartbreaking. I mean, if I can just say this, my daughter cried the other day. She cried the other day, and you know, and I think maybe we made a mistake as parents to actually show her parts of that video. Maybe we shouldn't have done that, right? But she cried the other day, and you know what she said? She said, "Daddy, I don't want to die like that." Can you imagine? Can you imagine that when you're teaching what racism is to a kid, and a 7-year-old child, my baby princess crying, saying, "Daddy, I don't want to die like that." Crying, "I don't want to die like that."
You know, it's heartbreaking, but we're kind of channeling that all those questions to the positive side. You know, yes, Martin Luther, they're looking at the speech and everything. Do you know what that actually means? And asking questions, and we're answering their questions at their level. But it just breaks your heart that, you know, she's still gonna cry. Like, is it just because he was black, mummy? And I've got to answer that, you know, what? Oh, it's heartbreaking. But the conversations are happening, and guess what? They do need to be aware, because it's life right now. You know.
And I think more and more people have to have those conversations. I mean, you know, my background and my heritage as a mixed race person, that I neither fitted into the black community. Nor I wasn't white enough to be white, and I wasn't black enough to be black. You know, and you know, my mom didn't have those conversations with me, so my identity came whenever I visited my family in London. You know, and you know, eventually moved to London. And, you know, so James has a stronger identity than I do. And he's even more mixed up than I am. You know, he's even more mixed than me. There's just a couple of, so Trish, I'm going to put two questions in one just for time.
Okay.
What is the best bit about having a mini me in the house? After having all this time with all this testosterone, what's it like having a mini me, having your daughter around? And then what is the most important lesson that you're teaching your daughter? If you were just to pick one, what would it be?
Okay, it's brilliant having another mini me. She looks just like me. She's pretty, she's beautiful, and she's girly and glitter and pink and bows. You know, when she was a baby, I just went to town. Everything was pink. But yeah. So it's really nice just to have a female, and she just wants to spend time with mummy and snuggle up. You can't get that with the boys. You can, but not quite the same. So yeah, she just makes the whole atmosphere different. And I too, as a parent, had to learn how to parent a girl. I was just used to football in the park. She wants to do this, and she wants to do nails and do all this stuff. I was like, what? No. But yeah, it's really, 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 really nice having her here. And the most important lesson, one of them would be to value herself. Because there's a lot of influence from social media and all kind of places, you know, friends and school and all these external entities that can impact your life. I want her to know that she is special, she is treasured, she doesn't need to be like anybody else, she doesn't need to be like, who is it now? I don't even know any young names. I was going to say Britney Spears, but I guess that was 10 years ago. But she doesn't need to be like whoever is in person. She doesn't need to look like them. She doesn't need to. She just needs to be herself and to study hard and to be happy and to talk and to just be you. That's the lesson that I would say. Just be yourself, Sienna.
I'm only closing because of time, because I'm actually leaving some of my questions to one side. But I want to know, as parents of three beautiful, amazing children, if you could give one piece of advice to all the parents out there who are facing challenges raising their children, what would it be? One from each of you.
Wow. I kind of should have prepared for this answer. Okay, so what my piece of advice to parents would be is that ultimately, except in the most extreme of cases, ultimately everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to work out. You know, we've got to, if we take the extremes, you know, of people who may be in trouble, or the extremes of people who are super excellent and have excelled way beyond what we might have expected, we can take the extremes and take them off, right? When you do statistics, you take the extremes out. Ultimately, everything's going to be all right. Kids and people are resilient. They find their way. I know, especially some kids are challenging at the young age. When we had challenges with Jude when he was transitioning from primary into secondary school. Ultimately, as long as the parents continue to pour love, no matter what, continue to pour love, and ultimately, you know, kids, they'll find their way.
I would say keep the communication channels open all the time. If your kids are talking to you, even if sometimes when they're saying stuff, as it happens with me and our children, they say stuff and you're like, wow, I didn't know he was there already. And you just have to bite back the shock. But they're talking to you, they're telling you their experiences, or when they're messed up, or when, you know, they've made the wrong decision. You just, as Leon says, love them. Keep the judgment out and just let them talk. Let them always know that they can talk to their parents about anything. Yeah, you might not be happy, but you know what? I want you to talk to me, Jude. Keep talking to me. Even when you've got your girlfriend, he's not too happy about that. But I want to know. I want to know it all, and I want to know all the time. And then, if there's anything there that needs to be picked up, you've got it, because they're just talking to you. They're not, oh, I've got to hide this from mum and dad, and then they're only coming when the problem is bigger than them. It's actually conversation. Keep the communication channels open, and you'll be able to deal with anything and everything.
It's a great one.
Thank you, Trish. Thank you so much. We have got some questions that I'd like to try and fire through. Some of the questions are coming up on Facebook Live. One of the questions I've got here is, how do you keep children away from the dangers of social media and trafficking online?
Do you want to answer that, Ray?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really not a big fan of social media for kids, and we're looking at this right now within our home. And even this week, I've been saying to my daughter, before you pick up the iPad, don't pick it up without asking me. Literally don't even pick it up. So we need to be smart about it as well, and somehow or another dig into the technology which exists in the system to block kids from accessing certain things, from looking at certain things. I mean, we need to be sensible about that. But ultimately, you know, we've got to be tough as parents, and we've got to be hard. And it's not about making our children feel good or making them feel comfortable. It's about making sure that they are safe and making sure that they do the right thing. So very, very quickly, I know that we've run out of time. Two ways I look at things. I look at the future. I look into the distance, and I look at what actions I have to take now in order to create the future that I want. Right? And so whether those actions are hard, whether those actions are challenging, whether they're difficult, I just got to take the actions now, today, which create the future I want. But I have to know the future I want so that I can take those actions. And the future that I want for my children, I see it. And so I take the actions now, whether they're comfortable or whether they're uncomfortable, to create the future that I want. If that means taking away the iPad, it means making them cry, you know, it means discipline within the confines of what our parent disciplines their child in 2020. All those things, you know, are on the table. And sorry, can I add one more thing? I'm sorry, Carol. We, as parents, I do feel quite passionately about this. We must stop being afraid of our children. We've got to stop being afraid of the kids. You know, the world's turning upside down. You know, fathers are not in the home as frequently as they should be. I know there's so many things we could go into on this topic, but ultimately, whether it's two-parent families, whether it's single-parent families, we must stop being afraid of our children.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. In fact, I did a post to that effect just this morning. And it started off with what you said, Trish, which is just love them. And the second one is don't be afraid to discipline them. So it's funny, we're absolutely 100% aligned. Maybe it's something to do with the fact that we were raising our children together. Somebody else has asked a question, and this goes back to Trish, when you had a conversation about your infertility issue. Sorry, I'm trying to get a question. However, it says absolutely. However, in countries like Nigeria, a woman who doesn't have any children or even just has one is deemed incomplete, and that's one of the problems. So, you know, people do go through, there's a lot of pressure in African homes in general to have children, otherwise you're not complete. The whole purpose of getting married is almost to have children. And if a year down the line you've not had a child, it's an issue in some families. And there's people that have literally got divorced because of it, you know. You know, so it can be quite challenging. Lots of positive comments. Hi, you know, great work. Sorry, that was all at the beginning. Thank God you came through. Maxine said, it's a blessing. I think she was, I don't know what she was talking about. I think no. Well done. They are so real. One of the comments is they are so
You know
real.
what, Carol,
They are so
you know
real.
me, and I'm just going to be me. And a lot of people say that about me. Trish, you're just you. And I'm, you just need to be complete in yourself and feel good in yourself and just be authentically you. Don't try to be Carol. Don't try to be whoever else. Don't try to be like this woman over there. Just be yourself. And all your gifts and all your talents and all your attributes will come out when you just be yourself and just accept yourself. Because as women, sometimes we're not happy with our weight, we're not happy with our hair, we're not happy that we're single, we're not happy that we're married, we're not happy with not having a child, we're not having too many children. I mean, come on now, let's just embrace ourselves.
Go on and on and on.
Embrace ourselves, love ourselves, do what we need to do something about the things we're not happy with, and just live your life. Be happy. Life is too short. And if this lockdown, nothing else is you've learned. It's the simple things, is it not? One form of exercise a day, your family, even if it's via FaceTime, just to see them, that's enough. All the money in the bank, you can't spend it right now, so that's not going to make you happy. It's the simple things, and just embrace it and walk in that. I think that would be my advice to every woman out there.
You're laughing. That was very good advice.
No, that was really good. That just came from the heart, you know. What? I might have to do conversations with Trish. Conversations with Trish coming live.
Trish, you were scared to do this.
I'll find a new name, Carol. Don't worry. I'll find a new name because you know I didn't even want to do this, don't you, Carol? But
I do, and you're doing it so well. I'm so impressed. You'll soon be taking my position. I'll have to add you as my guest every week. So guys, listen, I'm so grateful for you coming in. I'm really aware that we're slowly running out of time, but I know that we've had some wonderful comments. People have really valued the conversation, and we've covered so many topics. We've covered infertility, we've covered marriage, we've covered challenges in marriage, we've covered transition into family. You know, I mean, we've covered discipline, we've covered love, we've covered Black Lives Matter, we've covered so many different things in this conversation. So I'm so very grateful to you. It's fabulous seeing you. You both look absolutely incredible. And I'm so, you know, I am the big sister. So I can honestly say, without being patronizing, I am so very proud of you. I'm so very proud of you. And Leon, I know that you and I are going to be having another conversation and doing another conversation on live. I don't know whether you want to briefly mention that just now about what we're going to be talking about.
Carol, I'm really excited about the next conversation we're going to have and whenever we schedule it. And I really just want to, talk to your audience and my audience about, economic empowerment, finding ways where they can increase their income alongside their job or alongside what it is that they're doing right now. We just need to.
Sorry.
Did you stop the live? Yeah, I think.
It's not on.
Yeah, I think we just need to economically empower ourselves, Carol. Did you stop the live on Instagram?
Wait a minute. Yeah, sorry, we've lost the Instagram live feed just in time, but we are still online on Facebook. So go ahead.
No, that's really cool. I didn't realize there was an hour. Is there an hour limit on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize. Yeah. So I'm really excited about just economic empowerment. I very briefly, not going into it. We'll talk about it next week. But I'm an FX trader, trading full time and mentoring people and teaching people how to do this. And I think it's so important for us all to know how we can benefit from the financial markets, especially in this time when people are being furloughed. They don't know, what their career prospects might be, how long they're going to have their job. I think it's really important that we get into how we can increase our income, during these challenging times. So I look forward to having that conversation with you.
Me too. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. And for those of you that are watching, please share the video, make comments, like, and come and see us again next week.
You're doing a great job,
Thank
Carol.
you. Keep doing what you're doing.
You're doing
Carol.
a great job.
Love
See
you
you later,
lots.
baby.
Mwah.
Bye. Bye.
Lots
Bye.
of love.
See you
Love
later.
you.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.